Welcome to Under Two Capes. I am Jared. I'm here with Nick from the Phoenix Press. What's up, brother?
Not much. It's just a lovely day. What a lovely day. A perfect day for recastings.
Of course. Oh, yeah. So what we're talking about this week is what is going on with DC Comics and the DCEU. I should have put in DCEU because what we're going to be talking about is the comic book arm and the movie arm. Lord knows the past couple of weeks we've been talking ad nauseum about the movie arm. So I figured let's also address some of the rumors because according to Wes from Thinking Critical, the comic book armor is about to be hammered. So,
I mean, honestly, with it's the only thing, like honestly, the only company that's doing worse than DC is Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
And just Marvel is doing so bad, and DC is doing slightly better, but they're still pretty bad.
Yeah, which I'm fine with that. I'm fine with Marvel's failing more because it's Marvel. So
we're DC guys, so a little shot across the bow never hurt anyone.
Yes, of course. So for those of you that don't know, Wes from Thinking Critical, he's been on the show many times. In fact, my most recent one of my interviews with him is my first video to reach 1,000 views. So happy about that. So
talk about a critical view count.
Nice. So Wes did a video where he was basically indicating that he has a source that indicates that the accounting arm of Warner Brothers Discovery has requested that DC provide them with essentially a sheet that tells them who their biggest sellers are. In other words, to break down their sales based on the books that they publish.
And well, Tom King's gone.
Yeah, I know. Tom King, all the Toms are gone.
And Bendis will be the first.
I think Bendis already left because he saw the writing on the wall because he does a lot of image stuff. But it's like I guarantee you, like Mariko Tamaki's probably gone. But so what we're talking about here, and also notice. So actually, before we get to that, it's also interesting how then as soon as these rumors start going around, we start getting like, okay, so Jeff Johns is going to be doing a JSA monthly series, and we're getting
Mark Silvestri.
Mark freaking Silvestri's doing a Batman book.
It's almost like they realize they need to get people's attention. Like I'm still waiting for the announcement that Jeff Johns and EVS are teaming up for another Green Lantern run.
I know. Watch the heads explode.
I guarantee you, EVS would come back to DC in a heartbeat just to piss off the people.
And I guarantee you, somehow he'd have Cyberfrog be a Green Lantern.
Oh my god, I could just imagine, I could just imagine that him ink a deal, so I want Cyberfrog to guess. I'm gonna license the character to you. I'm not selling it to you, but I want it. They're like, fine. Cyberfrog can be a Green Lantern.
Yeah, I know, that would be so good.
No. They do a Cyberfrog crosses over with Green Lantern comic.
Yeah, exactly. So it's interesting because I've long said, first off, that one of the reasons why I prefer DC over Marvel from a talent perspective. Yes, that's true. But I always felt that DC had the better talent. In other words, they have the better writers and artists. Because DC, you had Fabok, Jim Lee, you had Ivan Reyes. In terms of writers, you had Jeff Johns, Scott Snyder, another Snyder. Ironically, honestly, what's kind of funny? Ironically, the Snyders have the best Justice League stories.
I mean, honestly, Marvel had top tier talent up until the early 90s. And then after they all left for Image, you John Romita Jr. kind of stuck around for a little bit, and Mark Bendis had some good runs in Marvel, but honestly, after the early 90s, Marvel really kind of teetered off. Whereas DC, the DC comics had some really good storylines in the 90s, 2000s, and the 2010s. They were just killing it.
They were on fire. You had Blackest Night, and then even the new Metal, Dark Side War. White Knight. That's another thing I always say. DC has the better storylines. Ultimately, Marvel there's a place for Marvel, but DC has the better storylines. So,
what's been the most? What are some iconic Marvel stories of? Obviously,
House of M, AVX. Let's see, House of X, Powers of 10, Siege. the death of Captain America, but he came back.
I mean, Civil War was kind of like their last hurrah in terms of like relevant storytelling, I think.
Probably any of the Carnage ones like King in Black, where they tied in every Marvel book they publish.
Woo.
That's just a stupid... And, you know, Marvel floods the market. That's the only reason why they've outsold DC, I'm convinced. Because in the heydays. Because you can't tell me that Marvel has better quality work in the heyday.
I mean, honestly, I prefer the Marvel-style events where, like, yeah, every book is tied in, but they're more side stories. Like, during Crisis on Infinite Earths, you read the Teen Titans tie-in, and it's just, what are the Teen Titans doing during the crisis? It's not essential to read it. It's more like, hey, if you want to know what's happening to these characters, you can read it. Yeah,
most events are that way. It's just some of them, it's like King in Black, I'm like, wait, who the hell? If you're just reading the trade of the actual event, you're like, the hell are you?
When you need to publish a flow chart to say, read these, and it's like 5 or 6 books deep, like, you need to read this book this week, this book this week, this book this, you know.
Then you know you're messed up.
Yeah.
Now,
you done effed up.
Now, let me ask you this, Nick. What do you think Zaslav is going to do with DC Comics? Because there's lots of different rumors. There's lots of different theories that he's going to shut down DC Comics. He's going to license out the
Here's Zaslav!
Nice! That's great. That's a good one. I love that.
Okay, someone needs to go on, like, Pinto Farms and, like, just, like, make superimpose Zaslav's face over Jack Nicholson's face.
If someone can actually make a drop that I can put on the live streams that's that scene, but it says here's Zaslav, I will put it on there and give you a shout out.
I know, like Pinto Farms, you can do stuff like that. I know some people who do that, but like, yeah.
But anyway, so what do you think are the likely scenarios of what Zaslav's going to do to DC Comics?
Well, all jokes aside, based off of what we know, which is they've requested a list of the top-selling titles, I feel like if they weren't going, like if they're just gonna like axe everything, they wouldn't have requested that.
Yeah, exactly. That's why
I think a purge is coming, but they're not going to completely get rid of it. I think they're just going to jettison as much fat as they can because Zaslav wants what sells, and obviously there are some comics that sell. So
oh yeah,
some of the Batman titles are going to sell. They'll probably relaunch Superman with a new writer, hopefully a good one.
Not
honestly, don't be surprised if we get another Scott Snyder, Greg Capullo Batman run. I would not be surprised.
Hell yes.
I mean, hell, imagine a Todd McFarlane, Greg Capullo Batman, like, or just Todd McFarlane Batman in general. Just imagine, just Todd McFarlane doing a Batman run, where he where he writes and draws it, or a Scott Snyder Todd McFarlane Batman.
Oh, run. Dude, you're hitting the nail on the head, bro. I agree with you that they wouldn't have shown that much interest in the comic book arm. Granted, it's not a priority really per se, but it's still important. What I think they're going to do is that there is going to be a purge. There is going to be a purge of how many books are published. Let me tell you this way.
That'll be like, so anyway, I started firing.
Yeah, exactly. So here are the titles that I think are going to stay around. Superman, obviously, Action Comics, Batman and Detective Comics, because ultimately those four tell different storylines. It's not just like 2 Superman books and 2 Batman books.
Plus, Action and Detective Comics are 2 of the most iconic. Honestly, the only other comic titles that is more iconic than those is Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah, exactly. So Wonder Woman, I say that because of what Zaslav said in the earnings call. And then Flash, Green. In other words, if it's a Justice League character, they get their own book. If not, no.
Is there a Justice League book out now?
Ongoing? I think so.
So I can imagine them doing a Justice League book.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And that's be the last one, Justice League. And then what I would say is that they're not going to do any John Kent Superman or Jace Fox Batman. Those characters will still exist, but they'll have John Kent not be Superman anymore, and they'll have him be like a background character or a character in a backup storyline in the back of the book. Yeah, go ahead.
So all of a sudden, John Kent got hit with the aging race, and he's back to the age he was before.
Or that's just the evil one. Because remember, he went to Earth 3 and was there for 12 years, and that's what that's why he got aged up. They could always just say that was just an evil clone.
So you're telling me we're pulling a Phoenix where it's like, oh, Phoenix didn't kill herself. Jean Grey just was put in stasis, and oh, we found her now, so Jean Grey's back.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll take it.
Hey. Let me put it this way. I do think at some point they may de-age John. Let me put it this way. If the Super Sons movie is popular, Tevia, if you're watching this, if the Super Sons movie is popular, it's not guaranteed, but it could lead to them de-aging John.
Honestly, with the success of Superman and Lois, I think people really want to see Superman be a father to young kids. Like, have Superboy be 7 to 10 years old,
like he was in Rebirth.
Yeah, I feel like that kind of like Superman being a father, where he's still Superman, but he's trying to mentor his young son. I think that kind of storyline would be really popular among the current demographic. Because like, you got to imagine, a lot of the Superman fans are fathers themselves, and I think they would really latch on to Superman being a father to these young boys. Lois being his wife. Take notes, Marvel. Spider-Man needs to get married.
To marry frickin' Jane.
Or Gwen Stacy. I'll take that.
But Gwen's dead still. They can't exactly do that.
No one stays dead in comics except Uncle Ben.
True. Except for Uncle Ben. You know what's kind of funny? For the longest time, it was 3 characters that could never come back. Jason Todd, Bucky Barnes, and Uncle Ben. 2 of the 3 came back in 1 year.
I mean, they've even brought Uncle Ben back a couple of times. So even that rule is not even...
Main continuity.
Yeah. Like,
hell, they made Bucky Captain America.
Well, that's fine. If you're going to bring him back, might as well make him Captain America. Like, that's fine.
Which was so good. I'd have the omnibus for that. Ed Brubaker's Captain America is the run for Captain America fans.
I still remember that run because, like, Bucky used, like, a gun. It was national news. Like, I remember watching the nightly news with Peter Jennings, and they ran a story about Captain America's using a gun. Like...
Yeah, and he said in the storyline, because Black Widow asked him about it, and he goes, "Well, I've always used weapons, and I'm not Steve. I'm not going to pretend to be Steve's Captain America."
Okay, that
works. I like that. Plus, it was kind of cool seeing Captain America shoot people.
Yeah, for sure.
So I was going to say that. So. That's what I think. I think that it's going to lead to a significant culling of the herd. And then in terms of talent, I could see Zaslav establishing a meritocracy, meaning you come in, you don't automatically get to be brought on to like Batman. And also, he's going to say, we're not going to publish 8,000 Batman books, because I think Lad sent me a chart. There's like 46 Batman books being published.
Now, the question is, how many of them are Batman and how many of them are Batman family?
Again, I also think that's going to be a significant purge in how many Batman family books.
Because honestly, the Batman family, I've always treated it like X-Men. The X-Men, X-Men kind of have their own kind of pocket of the universe where it's like you got your Wolverine books, you got your Excalibur, your Alpha Flights. They're all kind of under the X-Men umbrella. Or the Spider-Man books. Like you might have a Silk book or a Black Cat book or something, but they're all under the Spider-Man umbrella. So they're not strictly Spider-Man books, but they're under that umbrella. So that's kind of how I always viewed the Bat family, where it's like, a Robin book, a Nightwing book. I mean, they're going to have a Robin book. They're going to have a Nightwing book. Those two characters are popular. Probably a Batgirl. Bring back Cassie Kane, but whatever.
Make her actually Cassie Kane and not the Birds of Prey Cassie Kane.
I mean, honestly, I think at this point, even Batwoman has kind of earned herself a permanent spot in the Bat family. Because honestly, in the comics, she's actually interesting enough. Because like, like they have actually done more than be like, oh, I'm a Bat character who is a lesbian. I think they've kind of actually expanded upon it from there. They have.
That's why I was very disappointed with the show, because the character is so good. But what I think is going to happen, because most of the time it's like all these different Bruce Wayne Batman books. So I'm like, nope. Even like out of continuity stories, they're going to significantly cut down on that. They're just going to say, here's our small line. We're going to focus on talent. And if you come into DC, immediately. In other words, if you're a new writer who gets hired at DC, you start at a B tier character doing like a backup storyline. And then maybe if you sell well, we'll put you on like a Batman book or something like that.
Yeah, it's like you're not even good enough to write Huntress.
Nope. You can write a Peacemaker book for all I care, but no. Because I still count Huntress as like an A tier of the Bat family.
Okay. Here's my personal tier list.
Okay.
You got your A tiers, which is like Batman, Superman, and then the B tiers are like Nightwing, Robin. C tier. Huntress is a C tier.
True. She doesn't get that much attention.
Yeah, and in terms of characters, but yeah, she's still well known among even casual comic book fans know of Huntress. And plus, Huntress my metric is, has it appeared in an outside property more than once? And Huntress has appeared. She was in the Birds of Prey TV show. She was in Justice League anime series. She was in the piece of crap movie that we got. So she's appeared. I think she's even appeared more than that, but 3 times.
She was in Arrow.
Yeah, that's true. That was an interesting appearance. But,
yeah. That was actually really good. I was like, wait a second. My only awareness of Huntress was Helena Wayne, so I'm like, who the hell is Bertinelli? I forgot that there was a version of her where she was a mob boss daughter.
I mean, honestly, she's been Bertinelli way longer than she's been a Wayne. The Helena Wayne stuff was back in the 80s.
And then Earth 2.
Yeah, Paul Dini actually wrote that stuff. In the 90s, is when they revamped her. Because that's because I was reading a lot of the Batman comics late 90s through late 2000s. That's basically my era. And she was doing a lot of stuff. There was actually a 4-part series where he teamed up with Nightwing and actually had sex with them.
Of course, because he's as you do, because he's Nightwing.
So many jokes, so little time.
Yeah. So actually,
okay. So if Captain America has America's ass of the Marvel comics, would you think Nightwing has America's ass of DC?
I'd say Superman has that. Because when you think about it, Superman has the perfect male physique.
I don't know. Have you seen some of those drawings of Nightwing? That's
true. It really depends on the draw. It depends on the artist, honestly.
I mean, honestly, if
it's really here's the thing, though.
Okay. I got.
Yeah.
So we're always talking about, why are we sexualizing women so much?
Oh, really?
But then these same artists, they go around and they draw Nightwing with a 20-pack of abs and the perfect figure and
there was that one he's doing yoga.
He's got an ass so round he can calculate pi on it.
So what I was gonna say, when you think about it, it's not really Captain America that has America's ass. It's Chris Evans, because they've only said that in the movies, not in the comics. So really, it's not even Captain America. So going back away from this massive tangent,
I can imagine Chris Evans loved it when he read that scene because he knew they're they're gonna say I have America's ass from here till the end of time. So hey, that'll be an ego boost.
They said in She-Hulk. So let's see. So to give you an idea, my favorite Bat family member, I'm gonna do Bat family adjacent because obviously my favorite is either Nightwing or Jason Todd, one of those two. But adjacent is Black Canary.
Yeah, Black Canary is a weird one because she kind of floats because she's more associated with the Birds of Prey group. But
Birds of Prey, Green Arrow, and then Batman, kind of.
Oh, not only that, but also JSA, because Black Canary was actually one of the founding members of the JSA.
Her mother was. I'm talking about Dinah. I'm talking about the modern one.
Yeah, but they also put her in with the JSA teams from time to time.
And I believe Black Canary actually led the JLA in one of the runs I have.
Yeah, so she's kind of a floater. It's really interesting. And I like her character. I think she's a really good character.
Yeah, she's fantastic. She's one of my favorite. In terms of female superheroes for DC, mine are Wonder Woman #1 because she's Wonder Woman. #2 is probably, I would have to say, either Black Canary or Zatanna.
Oh, Zatanna.
Actually, it's Black Canary, Zatanna.
Zatanna can put a spell on me anytime.
Yeah, and then Huntress.
The best thing about Zatanna is when you run into Zatanna cosplayers at conventions. I have never seen a bad Zatanna cosplay.
Because there's no such thing as one. So, anyway. Now...
See, so the thing about like the Black Canary, she's kind of like the Black Widow of her group. Like she kind of fills that same
I would
spot.
say so, yeah, exactly.
But the thing is, a Black Canary versus Black Widow, Canary would win.
Oh, yeah. I don't care what Bat and the Sun did for their superpowered beatdown thing where they had Black Widow win. I'm like, wait a second here. All Canary has to do is scream in her ear.
The only way Black Widow could win is if she somehow knew about the Canary cry beforehand and she was wearing, like, noise suppressant things, which, I mean, maybe. I mean,
Black Canary, but here's the thing, though. Are earplugs really going to last on, like, for sonic waves that Black Canary has literally used to cushion her fall? I'm sorry. It's okay. Not working.
If we're talking about cool matchups, Black Canary versus Banshee.
Oh, yes.
And then, you want to talk about a terrible matchup, Black Canary versus Daredevil.
Oh, yeah.
That is such a curve shot. Like,
that is such a slap in the balls.
Because like, he's weak against sound. So, like, she doesn't even need to go full force. And he's
Black Canary and Venom.
Oh, that's a curb stomp. That is a curb stomp.
Curb stomp. That's a fatality right there. Sorry, going back to what we're saying. So, in terms of comics, yeah, I think it's going to lead to a significant culling of how many books they publish. I think they're going to cool it on everything. They're just going to say Batman, Superman, all the Justice League members, and then a Justice League book. That's the way I think the line's going to look.
I think what's going to happen is they're going to purge talent by Tom King, by Tom Taylor. You're gone.
Thank you.
And probably they're going to bring in some people, like some known quantities. Now, I would like them to bring in EVS, but like I don't think that's going to happen. Todd McFarlane, like I could see Todd McFarlane doing a run. Like I don't think he'd do both writing and art, but like imagine a Frank Miller, Todd McFarlane Batman run.
Oh,
like
yes.
written by Frank Miller, drawn by Todd McFarlane. Like,
Todd McFarlane Batman would be dope.
Because like because Todd has a good working relationship with DC. Like
he does the action figures. I have a couple of them on my shelf.
So like I could see like Zaslav shows up in Todd McFarlane's office, puts down a comically large bag of money, and says, "All right, you start on the Batman run on Tuesday." He's like, "Okay."
Well, that was one of the suggestions that one of the rumors that people had, that if they licensed the comic book arm out, they would give it to Todd McFarlane.
Yeah, I can see that happening. Like, the question is, would they piecemeal it out, or would they piecemeal certain sections out? Like, I could see like Batman, or like the Bat family kind of goes to one people. Like they kind of chop it up into different licenses. You know what I'm saying?
What I think would happen is that they would essentially do it wholesale and just say, you run the comic book arm now. And just say, you and whoever you want. It's like, you can get Robert Kirkman. Can you imagine we get an Invincible Teen Titans crossover? Because that's pretty much Teen Titans when you think about it.
Here's what might happen is, let's say a company like Image picks it up, but you don't start suddenly seeing Batman with an Image title on it. It's still a DC. It's still the DC branding.
Yeah.
But it's just Image runs it as a licensed imprint. Like, so that way there's no break in continuity. So it's not suddenly Batman, like Superman has an Image in the corner. It still has the DC Bullet logo. It's just DC is a brand that's licensed out. So the average person doesn't even realize what happened. Like, I think that's my prediction of what's going to happen, because that is like the easiest way to do it.
And it also makes it easier if they want to do an Image DC crossover like Batman Spawn, because they're licensing that there's less hoops to jump through.
Walking Dead versus the Justice League.
You know what I want? I know that Red Sonja is run by Dynamite, but I kind of want a Red Sonja Wonder Woman crossover. I could see that really turning out really well. Because Red Sonja is basically Wonder Woman in a metal bikini, so.
But like, I imagine if Image gets the DC license, they're probably gonna throw Spawn in there somewhere. Todd McFarlane's not gonna help himself.
Plus, don't help yourself, dude. Just do it.
Also, they're gonna bring in Invincible. Like, imagine they're gonna put Omni-Man versus Superman. Come on.
I still give it to Superman.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. The Boys was Dynamite, so you're not going to see that.
That would be hilarious. No, The Boys versus Suicide Squad. That's what I would see.
She actually gives them a chance, mind you.
Yeah, exactly.
But like Invincible, like I could see like Invincible like teaming up with. I feel like. Yeah, I could see that. I could see that happening. But like they're gonna do an Omni-Man versus Superman. I mean,
yeah. There's no reason why. There's no reason why not to.
I just kind of wish. How funny would it be? Okay, is if let's say Marvel licensed out their stuff, and suddenly Image licensed Marvel stuff. All of a sudden, Marvel has access to Angela again.
Oh yeah. No, I think it's Todd McFarlane having access to Angela again.
Because remember, Angela was created by Todd McFarlane, and then Neil Gaiman did a lawsuit, got the rights to Angela and Medieval Spawn, and then sold the rights to Marvel. So Angela's a Marvel character now.
So Medieval Spawn is also a Marvel character?
I'm not sure, but I know it was two characters. I think it was like Medieval Spawn and
I know Angela was one because she's in like all the Marvel mobile games. That'd be hilarious if this is it'd be hilarious if this is Todd McFarlane's whole plan to get a Marvel DC crossover. He licenses Marvel and DC Comics. He's like, it's all mine. I could see also, right, if not Todd McFarlane, maybe Robert Kirkman.
Okay, so in the ninth issue of Spawn for 3 critical characters: Angela, Cagliostro, and Medieval Spawn.
Okay. What would you think of like maybe Zaslav going to someone like Robert Kirkman to run DC Comics?
I think Robert Kirkman would do a good job. I mean, the first thing Kirkman would do is an Invincible crossover, but can you blame him?
Why not? I mean, at that point, like, I have no problems with that. That'd be a fantastic. I said in my Invincible animated series review, they should do They should do a crossover with DC because it's pretty much a parody of the DC universe.
I mean, heck, if I was running DC, I'd stick Screecher in a Batman book.
Why not? Because actually, it fits really well. You can make Screecher like this covert, like sidekick that Batman had but didn't tell anyone because he's always keeping secrets from people.
Well, actually, now that if you actually put me on the spot, see what I would do.
Yeah,
Screecher works out of like Michigan, Ann Arbor. Basically, Bruce has to go to this area for something, and then he runs into Screecher, and he's an inspired by hero.
Oh, okay, that works. If so, for my character, what I would do for Thunder Goddess is I would have it where he's the other child of Zeus because Zeus is always having kids. She's that Diana's actual sister. It's just her powers are more of the Zeus's electrical powers.
You just want to have her fight Wonder Woman.
Oh yeah, why not? I think Wonder Woman would honestly win.
Yeah, she has more experience, but it would be a good fight. And
honestly, then she would become part of like the Wonder Woman family of characters, I think. Yeah. Would you put your character on the Teen Titans as like the Wonder Woman? No, because she's older. So I would honestly put her on the JLA.
Okay.
Now, okay, so dude, let me ask you this. Let's say that he came to one of us for some reason. Which book would you really want? And he told us you can write any DC book you would want to write. Which one would you do?
It would be a 3-way split between Batman, Nightwing, and Teen Titans.
Okay, there you go. Mine would be a three-way split between Superman, Wonder Woman, and JLA. So there you go. I would write JLA. I would do JLA and make like Naomi the character everyone makes fun of just to spite Bendis. And in the Superman book, I would constantly like bring up stuff in the Superman and from the Bendis run, and then have Superman go, "Now that was stupid." I would have him actually say, "This underwear is stupid." It's almost like it was invented by someone named Bendis.
Oh my god, you get canceled so quick.
Oh, and I'm like, I don't care at this point. Oh, and also I would tell Tom King, get out.
Get out.
And Tom Taylor, either DH John Kent and stop whatever story you're doing, or get out.
Well, that's if Tom Taylor is still in the building.
Well, yeah, I would tell Tom Taylor, actually, you're the Black Label, like, Elseworlds writer, because that's what you excel at.
Okay, here's a question for you. Who would be your artist for the Superman run?
That would be a good question. Okay, so I would do, assuming I can have any artist I want, all right? My top 5 are Jim Lee, Faye Bach, Ivan Reyes, and I would have to say David Finch.
For my Nightwing or Batman run, I would have either Greg Capullo,
of course.
Jim Lee would be cool. And I'd probably bring in EVS just to like you were talking about pissing people off. Just imagine like EVS working on a DC book again.
Oh, if I did Green Lantern, he would be my first.
That would be a nuclear bomb in like oh, you know.
I would even have tell EVS you can even announce it on your live stream. Just to annoy people. For my Wonder Woman artist, I would do so my top 5 are Terry Dodson.
No. What
yeah.
I would do is this would be during a DC fandom event, and all of a sudden EVS pops up and says, "Hey, I'm doing a Green Lantern." Would it's like where Jeff Johns talk about his new Green Lantern run. It's like, oh, by the way, I got a really good artist and I'm teaming up with again, and you're like, no, and then like EVS pops up like no, and he's wearing an all caps. He's wearing an all cap comics cap, and he's like, hey, wrong hat. Oh, sorry. And then he takes it off, puts on a DC cap on.
That would work. For my Wonder Woman,
imagine the freak out.
I would pay for that to watch that live. I
would pay money and then like popcorn.
Yeah, exactly. For my Wonder Woman artist list, it would be Terry Dodson is number 1. I love the way he draws female characters. David Finch again, because I love the way he draws Wonder Woman. I mean, he drew this Wonder Woman. And honestly, I would probably roll with I'm trying to think who would be another good, really good Wonder Woman artist. Probably Liam Sharp, because I loved his rebirth look for Wonder Woman. That's 3, and I would go with. Probably Jim Lee. I think he would do Wonder Woman really well. Then for my
Mark Silvestri.
I was about to say for my wild card would be Mark Silvestri. I can't do Michael Turner, but I would do Mark Silvestri.
Mark Silvestri would be good. Like he draws women good as well, but like he'd be good for like a JLA run.
Yeah. So in terms of JLA, it would be Ivan Reyes, Jim Lee, Mark Silvestri, and for 4, I would probably. Who's this? Oh yeah, Miguel Mendonca. He was the artist for Last Ride. The art in here is actually really good. I'm gonna open that up so I can show you. It's like that.
So for me, if I'm gonna do a Nightwing run, I gotta team up with like my favorite Nightwing artist, Scott McDaniel. Okay,
yeah, exactly.
Because he did like the Nightwing, like the early stuff with Chuck Dixon, and that's like quintessential Nightwing to me. And like he's like, okay, Scott McDaniel is like that one artist that I want to work with so badly. Don't be surprised if I tell you, hey, I just sunk $1,500 to have him do a cover for this or that, and be like, oh,
that works. Oh, I know my last person that I would use for a Justice League book, Jorge Jimenez.
Okay.
Because he was the artist for Scott Snyder's JLA run, and that was fantastic art. Actually, I have one more. Francis Manipul.
So, in terms of artists I want to work with, I really want to work with Aha, the guy who did the Hawkeye run, and have him work with him on imagine him on a Screecher run.
Yes. Oh, I have one more book I want to do, Trinity. And then my writer would be Jeff Johns, Francis Manipul, because he wrote the Rebirth, a couple of like a substantial run for Trinity, and I very much enjoyed it. And then I would honestly do in terms of one more writer. Actually, I'm going to do this. One more writer for my JLA, Grant Morrison. There you go.
Well, it just got weird.
Well, when you read his JLA run, it's actually pretty solid. And then for my artist for my Trinity series, it'd be either Francis Manipul or Jason Fabok.
Also, I got to add a cover artist, Mike
Sure.
Mayhew. Mike Mayhew. He does a lot of Marvel stuff. He has a very Alex Ross kind of style. And like, oh my god, his mystique is so amazing.
Oh my gosh, dude. Okay, my third Trinity artist is Alex Ross. What, or just the cover artist, because you have to. If you're working at DC, in my mind, you have to have Alex Ross involved somehow.
Okay, I'm gonna send you a link. Wait, let me actually kind of see if he has an Instagram.
Because I freaking love Alex Ross.
Yeah. So I'm gonna send you a link to Mike Mayhew's Instagram private chat. Just kind of glance over it, and like you'll see, like, okay, yes, I see what you mean. Private chat, just like check out his stuff. It's like it's just so classic and like very Alex Rossy. It is really, really good.
Oh yeah, it's very Alex Rossy, and I like it.
I mean, it's still its own style. It's not like a ripoff, but like it's really good. Like I want it. I plan on getting him to do a cover for one of my stuff. Like, it's going to be expensive. Probably do it for a trade, but it'll be really good.
So on that note,
look at his She-Hulk. It's so good.
On that note, let's transition to talking about the movies now, because Lord knows there's been a crap ton of like craziness surrounding DC movies. Now, well, here's the first piece of good news that we had. Here's why these delays are actually good, because it confirms that Ben Affleck is the DCEU Batman according to Jason Momoa, and every single like DC fan that watched that news was pretty much like this. Essentially, I'm trying to find it. Yeah, we're all like, yes! Yes! The best modern Batman is back, baby! So that's the good part. Now, in terms of delays, I'm like, okay, so we're only getting one DC movie.
See, the only thing that would make this all perfect is if they announced that Grant Gustin was coming back as Flash. Hey, it's been a while since I did that, so give me some credit.
Just kidding. Okay, so but we don't mention Grant Gustin, but
I mean, I'm just doing it to troll at this point. So.
I know. That's the only reason why I haven't permanently banned you from this podcast. But
it's more of an inside troll joke at this point. But yeah.
Yeah, at this point, it's fun. So now, okay, so now let me ask you this first, Nick. Which DC movie are you the most excited for, assuming they come out? Assuming that the ones that have been announced, that we know have release dates and everything, are coming out.
I don't have too much. I mean,
mine's Flash.
For me, I like the first Aquaman, and especially with the news that a certain actress.
Do you want to just go ahead and talk about that right now?
Let's do it.
So there is news. Actually, you know what? Since since Nick is the most excited for this I've ever seen him, Nick, you introduced this rumor.
Ding dong, the bitch is dead, bitch Ding dong, the wicked is dead.
I'm gonna have to bleep that out.
But you got to admit that was worth it.
That was worth it. I'll bleep
So,
that out when I edit the episode.
Fair enough. But according to Mikey Sutton of Geekosity, Amber Heard, the Bee, is out, and a new actress is in. A certain Targaryen.
Someone that actually has chemistry with our boy Momoa.
Emilia Clarke is going to come in as Mira.
And who was actually one of the only good parts of Terminator Genesis. She was Sarah Connor.
And can I just say, Emilia Clarke is actually a lot better actress than Mira. And I feel like Emilia Clarke could probably do a better job of Mira than before.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
I actually feel like, chemistry aside, fanboyism, the fact they were both in Game of Thrones apart, I actually feel like he's a better fit for the role than Amber Heard.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh. Yes. As soon as I found out that she was like an option, I was like, oh, they should have gone with this in the beginning.
So I just hope that they have a scene where Game of Thrones is playing on the TV screen, and I want Jason Momoa to say, "Why are you watching this crap?"
Or it's a scene where like the intro is playing as the theme song, dance, and then Jason Momoa is like, "That's a catchy tune."
Or even better is they're doing one of like the scenes like where the dragons are roasting stuff where they don't show Daenerys on it, but like they just show the dragons. So like everybody knows it's a Dany scene. It's like, oh, I just like it, you know.
Or it's like it's like Mary goes, I really like dragons.
Because like legally, there's no reason why they can't do that because legally Warner Brothers also owns Game of Thrones. So if they wanted to have the
wait, they have sea dragons, and then Mera at some point goes, "Where are my dragons?" So that's the news that it looks like we're gonna get Emilia Clarke as Mera, which I'm like, oh hell yes!
We're getting Emilia Clarke as a redhead, so I'm happy.
And by the way, for some reason when I made my list of top female superheroes, it's actually Wonder Woman, Mira, Black Canary, Huntress, Zatanna, and so on. Because I love Mira as a character. In fact, speaking of Mira as a character, she actually has some good moments in Aquaman by Jeff Johns. There's this great scene where she's like in a supermarket and she's trying to buy dog food, but she has no idea what to do because she's an Atlantean. So this attendant keeps hitting on her, and she's like, "Please don't touch me. Please don't touch me." And then she breaks his arm, and he goes, "You broke my arm!" And she goes, "You wouldn't stop touching me."
I mean, she did warn him, so
many times. And it's essentially like the cops put handcuffs on her, and then she escapes, and she pulls the Man of Steel, and she's like, I'm like, okay, what'd you expect? She's an Atlantean. So let's see. Well, so we have that news. That's really good news. It looks like everything is, to quote Emperor Palpatine, everything's going according to plan.
Soon we shall reveal ourselves to the Jedi. Wait, wrong movie, sorry.
So, at last we will reveal ourselves to the Jedi. At last we shall have our revenge. Actually, if this were a movie, it would be DCEU, Revenge of the Snyderverse. Because that's what this really is at this point. We're getting payback.
Oh, I'm just awaiting, like, for the next, I feel like we're just waiting for the announcement that Zack Snyder's coming back and we're getting a Man of Steel 2. It's
going to be next year. Well, let me put it this way. Let's say that happens. I think that's going to happen at least. At least he'll come back to direct like a Man of Steel 2 and then a Justice League Part 2 and 3, or like Part 2, however they do it. But that won't happen. We won't get any public news of that happening until next year when his exclusive deal with Netflix is done.
So here's what I think the setup is going to be. Zack Snyder is going to direct his films, but he's also going to consult with the head of DC about like where things are going to go.
Yeah,
because I feel like the head of DC is going to like work with Zack Snyder. Zack Snyder's not going to be calling the shots, but he's going to give advice and input. So it's not exactly going to be Snyderverse, but it's going to be a Snyder influence verse.
Well, we also know that Mikey Sutton also dropped Zaslav Duel, and Mikey Sutton dropped a rumor that Zaslav was going with the Snyderverse timeline. And of course, you would at least consult with the guy that set up the timeline.
And then also with Abdul dropped the news that Henry Cavill will appear in Man of Steel. Black Adam.
Of course, he's going to show up in a Man of Steel.
But here's the thing: we all know that, like, the contract negotiation, DC wanted him to come back for cameos, but he wanted to do a Man of Steel too. So he wouldn't come back unless it was, hey, you do these movies.
The possibility.
And we'll your Man of Steel. Like, it's a play ball kind of situation.
Yeah.
Like, Henry Cavill, I'm sure is willing to play ball, but he wants his Man of Steel.
Because it's like, wait a second, Superman started your company. So that's what even Zaslav said that. He's like, wait a second, you have Superman and you're not using him.
Yeah.
But I see what you're saying. In other words, it's like he wouldn't come back if there wasn't a possibility, if he wasn't at least promised that eventually we'll do a Man of Steel 2.
Yeah, like as long as that wasn't on the table, as long as that's on the table, he's willing to work with them. You know, I don't think he was never not willing to do the cameos. It's just he didn't want to do only cameos. He didn't want to be like the come in prop. He didn't want to be a jobber. You know what I'm saying? The quote wrestling.
In fact, there's another rumor that came out that the Superman cameo in Black Adam actually sets up Man of Steel 2.
I mean, given how things are going, I wouldn't be surprised. And how much do you want to bet, like, that post-credit scene that says Superman will return in Man of Steel 2?
Or, no, here's what they say. Superman returns in Man of Steel 2.
Oh!
There you go!
I like the way you think.
And then, it'll be hilarious, next year, whatever DC movie is next year, no, what they do is at the end of The Flash next year, because that's around the time Zack Snyder's thing is done, they put The Flash will return in Zack Snyder's Justice League Part 2. That's how they indicate that we're doing the Snyderverse 2.
And at the end of the movie, Ezra Miller wakes up as Daniel O'Brien.
Thank you! It's Dylan O'Brien, but I see what you're saying. It's the thought that counts. I'll take that. Although, with all the apologies that Ezra has been doling out, it is likely that they may keep them on. Which, I'm like, all right, whatever. At this point, I have no control over that. I'm still going to see the movies, so, all right.
I mean, it does make me very, very angry that, like, they kicked Johnny Depp off of over whiffs of allegations that he was ultimately exonerated for, whereas Ezra literally has committed felonies. He's literally kidnapped children. He's groomed people. He is literally a sexual predator. He's been on run from the law. He's running a cult. Like, did you hear about that stuff he was doing in Iceland? He was running a cult in Iceland.
But I will say a few of those points have been revealed to be the work of a crazy stalker that made a lot of that stuff up.
But I did hear the Iceland stuff where actual women came forward.
Okay. Yeah. But I'm saying short of them killing a person, I think at this point, Ezra's the Flash.
Well, short of him being on TV holding a gun to someone's head as a hostage.
Yeah, or actually killing someone.
Or R-wording someone.
Yeah, exactly. Now, okay. So there's
molestation or like the big bad ones.
Yeah, the P word, in other words. So now going on to like, so that's where we stand on the Superman fandom. That pretty much we're gonna get a Man of Steel Part 2, which I think that what they should do, make that the movie where you have Superman being the Superman that even the antis want, because that was the original plan. That's at this point Superman's gone through that arc, so he's ready to be the Superman that we know him as. And watch that movie directed by Zack Snyder. Watch it'll be directed by Zack Snyder, and the antis will still say he doesn't understand Superman.
Yeah.
They'll never, ever, ever be satisfied, these people. So, and then going on to the Flash, assuming it still comes out, which at this point
it'll come out. Honestly,
mm-hmm.
DC had plenty of opportunity to cancel it, and they chose to weather the storm, and the storm's kind of passed at this point. So,
again, short of Ezra actually murdering someone,
pretty much. Let's be honest. I'm not gonna really put it past him to mess up again, but. Until that happens, we don't know. I mean, I think the fact that the Flash testing audiences, it's kind of a give and take. It's like we've had really bad movies that tested well, and there were really good movies that didn't. So,
plus, if you look at, I saw this tweet that was like saying every DC movie pretty much has been like said it's tested. It's the highest testing DC movie since The Dark Knight.
Exactly.
So, well, first off, yeah. First off, from what I've seen, it actually looks pretty good. Particularly now that I know that Michael Keaton's not going to be replacing Ben Affleck and it's not going to be like destroying the Snyderverse, I can enjoy it more.
Yeah, it's kind of a nice like one-off throwback. Like, oh hey, Keaton's back. He's back for a movie. It's a multiverse movie, so okay, it makes sense now.
Yeah, cool.
Okay.
And supposedly there's gonna be like a nod to like Linda Carter's Wonder Woman, Christopher Reeve's Superman. I'm like, okay, that's cool. It's gonna be essentially a love letter to DC. I'm cool with that.
So they're bringing back Brandon Routh.
please.
I'm trying to think who from that movies are still alive. Maybe the Jimmy Olsen, but
the Jimmy Olsen was in Zack Snyder's Justice League. He was the cop.
Oh yeah, I remember that. I'm trying to think what old Superman actors could I just want them how funny would it be if in the Flashpoint when they talk when Lex Luthor shows up, it's Michael Rosenbaum.
That'd be cool. Oh, Smallville. The Flash goes through a portal, and all of a sudden you hear somebody save me.
Or just he runs past the farm, and it's the farm for Smallville, and suddenly Erica Duras kind of peeks up, it's
her head up, and she's like, "What the hell was that?" He passes by the Flash TV show and goes, "Well, this sucks."
No, she says. Smallville, is Bart here again? Because remember, they had Impulse on that.
Oh yeah, that was their Flash.
I just imagine, because I could just imagine she's probably met Bart at some point, and she sees kind of the Flash go by, or she's wearing pants, and she just says, "Oh, thank God I wasn't wearing a skirt."
Oh yeah, or it's like
that's a callback to the animated series, because every time Superman would go. Lois Lane would have to go like this.
Oh, really?
And at one point, she said, I got to start wearing pants.
By the way, fun fact, in Smallville, Lois dated Aquaman before Clark.
Also, fun fact, the guy who played Aquaman in Smallville went on to play Hawk in Titans. And he's also
and the dude that played Green Arrow in Smallville played Aquaman in the one-episode pilot for the Aquaman series.
I still need to watch that pilot. I really do.
I watched part of it. It's actually not that bad. The only part I really have to get used to is them calling Aquaman AC. I'm like, well, that's stupid.
I really am mad that Justin Hartley never guest starred on Arrow.
Oh, yeah. Particularly when they started bringing in the multiverse stuff. I'm like, you couldn't have him show up in, Crisis?
We did. The closest we got is, I think, for, the Elseworld story. There is kind of this big shot of all these DC heroes did. They did have the Smallville Green Arrow costume as one of the people lying over. That's the closest we got.
And I will say this. Say what you want about the Injustice movie. Hartley did a fantastic job voicing Injustice Superman. Really good job.
Imagine if they have Justin Hartley play Green Arrow. Oh no! Wait! Here's what I would.
Oh,
do.
Go ahead.
I would have him play Green Arrow, but he's wearing the Arrow costume, he's wearing Stephen Amell's Green Arrow suit.
And he goes, "You have failed this city."
Like, how much of a mind trick would that be? Like, wait, what?
Well, let me ask you, what Arrow costume did you enjoy the most? I like the season, like I like the season. I think it was season 3, where like he was bare armed and he had like straps on the shoulder. He had like the actual mask.
Yeah, I think season 3. I mean, I realized why they gave him sleeves because Vancouver's freaking cold and he wanted to keep warm. So
Yeah, but I'm saying from a visual standpoint, I like the sleeveless, and plus I like him actually having a mask instead of the paint.
Well, yeah, that was just season 1.
Season 1 and season 2, he had the paint, because I remember season 2 is when Deathstroke and Black Canary showed up.
Well, actually, with season 2, they actually did the Barry Allen.
Oh yeah, and then after that, he had the mask.
Barry was the one who made him the mask, and so like,
Fun fact, by the way, when I watched that Barry Allen episode for the first time, it was before I knew who Barry Allen was. I'm like, where have I heard that name before? And then the end of the episode happens where they show the lightning bolt, and I'm like, wait, what? That's who that is? Because remember, I grew up on the Justice League cartoon where it was Wally.
Also, one thing I really like about the Flash, they brought back John West. I mean, obviously John West is shipping part of the show, but the fact they actually brought back the version from the
I like that.
Put him in the costume.
And he goes, John, where's your ring? And everyone's like, wait, what? And they actually make it so like, oh, his actual name is John Stewart. I'm like, we had John Stewart this entire time and you never gave him a Green Lantern ring?
And what sucks is that, like, ever since the show ended, John Diggle came back like 2 different times for runs. And they keep playing with it. Oh, we're going to make him Green Lantern, but they never actually do it.
I know.
He gives up the ring for some stupid reason.
It's because, you know why? The CW doesn't have the budget to do a Green Lantern suit right.
Can you please not make it green?
Or animated.
Or animated?
Would be hilarious is if the next Deadpool movie, as a joke of that, he's wearing a green and animated suit. That would be so. He's like, damn it, I told you not to make it green or and it looks horrible, but he's aware that it looks horrible.
So one of my favorite Deadpool gags is they show Ryan Reynolds reading the script to Green Lantern.
And he just shoots him.
That is ballsy. That was
my
ballsy.
My favorite joke is the one before that where he shows up and like unloads a mag into the X-Men Origins Deadpool. He doesn't just shoot him once. He's like, boom, 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 boom. He's like, hi, Wolf. Hi, Logan.
And I just love he just looks at him like,
yeah. At that point, Wolverine's probably like, okay, I have a regenerating healing capabilities. My brother, I just fought. I fought all in like 80 wars. You know what? This is just par for the course.
I just want to see Deadpool interact with like the regular MCU at least just one movie.
All I want is, I wish Chris Evans was still in the MCU, because then I would love for him to show up and go, aren't you supposed to be on fire?
Or like he or like Chris Evans walks away and Deadpool says, yeah, that is America's ass.
Or he starts chasing Chris Evans with a flamethrower. No, the actor Chris Evans actually guest stars in the MCU as Chris Evans, and then Deadpool is chasing him with a flamethrower.
Oh! Imagine Deadpool meets the new X-Men. He meets a new version of Charles Xavier, and he says, "I liked you better when you were Patrick Stewart."
I liked you better. Yeah. Or like, I did like in Deadpool 2, where he's like, where are all the X-Men? You see them in a room, and then Beast just closes the door.
Oh, one of my favorite ones is where I'm in the Deadpool 1, where he's like, I'm going to take you to the professor. McAvoy or Stewart? Timelines are so confusing these days. I love that. Yeah,
I love it. It's as if the studio could only afford 2 X-Men. He's like, I just love it. I love how in X-Men 2, he's like, we're the X-Men, trainee. And he jumps out the window and he goes, oh, man, those my knees.
Can I just say, Deadpool 2 is an example where you race swap a character and it works.
Domino. Who was race swapped? Domino was race swapped?
I'm assuming she's white.
I mean, okay, so hang on.
Yeah, like, I thought she was a white character.
Here's the thing about Domino, though. It's black and white paint, so you don't really know if she's, like, white. So, I agree with you. But in terms of like, here, I'll share my screen. Here's the thing. When you look at Domino, it's like white paint.
So I'm looking at it, and it says her skin color is white. This is the Marvel database. So
okay, well, I in that case, well, guess what? I agree with you. It's I think she did a great job. I love where Deadpool gets in an argument with her about how luck is not a real superpower. Oh, wait, and he goes, "That sounds like something that would be invented by someone who can't draw feet." I'm like, oh, I know what that was a dig on. He's like, I don't think that's cinematic, or I don't know how you would visualize that.
And meanwhile, she's just...
Yeah. I love the Vanisher is actually Brad Pitt.
It was a CG Brad Pitt, like, where they just had to pay for his likeness and whatnot. Like,
yeah,
that was like
X-Force
ever.
X-Force. Oh, I love where so dark. You're sure you're not from the DC universe? As a DC fan, I can laugh at that. That's actually really funny.
Yeah.
Zip it, Thanos.
Did he actually say that in the movie, though?
Yeah, he did. He did.
Nice.
I'm like, yes, because that's just a missed opportunity. If there's one character that would say that, is Deadpool.
I love the tweet Ryan Reynolds made where they talk about like recasting, and he's like, "Oh, like I don't know why people are angry about like recasting, seeing as how where Josh Brolin was Jonah Hex and I was in Blade Trinity, like just completely missing out on the other characters." I just love that.
Yeah, and that's just Ryan Reynolds being a troll.
I want to see Blade interact with Blade and say, "Hey man, I missed you. Last time I saw you, you were Wesley Snipes."
Oh, I mean Blade and Deadpool. Yeah, that'd be fantastic.
Just imagine Mahershala Ali's like, "Last time I saw you, you were Wesley Snipes. You look good, man."
Or he's like, "Oh, have you been in jail for tax evasion?"
It's like, hey, make sure to pay your taxes.
Yeah, exactly. So going back to what we're talking about, DCEU news. So
I'm sorry. It's just
no. That is solid, dude. I do want to see that. So anyway,
a fourth wall break inside a fourth wall break.
That's like 16 walls. I know. So
I'm sorry, those movies are so good.
I love them. So those are my favorite non-MCU Marvel movies, besides the Venom movies, because I maintain, okay, Venom 1 was great. Venom 2 was pretty good, but too short.
Yeah, I think that the thing with the Venom movies is they kind of knew what they were, and they just ran with it. Like, they knew they were kind of like B-movie schlock, kind of, and they kind of embraced it to a degree. Mm-hmm. And also, I feel like the movie had just enough of a decent story and just enough good characters, and the dialogue was good enough that, like, it just worked. Like, everything kind of came together, and it works, and it's fine.
I love in Venom 2, where Venom keeps going, I want to be called the Lethal Protector. That sounds so 90s. That was one of the jokes where I got it, but my dad didn't because he's not a comic book like reader like we are. So he had no idea why I was laughing so hard at that joke. I explained to him afterwards.
I really love the scene where he's at like the gay rave, and he's just talking about like being himself, and everyone's just like eating that crap up, and he's just like talking about,
and where the media before the movie came out was like saying it's Venom's coming out story. Oh no, it was Andy Serkis says it's Venom's coming out story, but he's not coming out as gay in the movie.
I think at the end, like, they do say they love each other, but it's like
it's a brotherly thing. It's not like anything like
they're very much brothers. That's what it is.
But so before I log off, I will say,
Dad, no one likes you.
Yeah, no one likes you, Dad. He just smacks his hands into the steering wheel. So anyway, what I will say, before I log off, I just want to say one thing. I saw Samaritan on Amazon Prime. That is really good. It's basically Sylvester Stallone was a superhero, and which further like advances my theory that the scariest thing ever put to film is an angry Sylvester Stallone. That angry look he gets, I'm like, oh no.
For me, it's an angry Liam Neeson because he has a certain set of skills.
Well, let me put it this way: in the last Rambo movie, he chopped someone's heart out. He cut the dude's chest open, reached in and pulled out his heart and showed it to the guy.
Kano wins.
Yeah. Fatality.
Oh, Kano wins, you fucking beauty.
Yeah, exactly. Merry Christmas, you filthy animal, and a Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Yeah, exactly. Kevin McAllister comes out of nowhere with a paint can.
Oh my god, the best meme is like Kevin McAllister versus the Predator. Who would win? And the comment is, does Kevin McAllister get prep time?
Yeah, prep time. Here's a better question. Kevin McAllister versus Batman.
Does Kevin McAllister get prep time?
Does Batman get prep time?
Oh, okay. You want to know like the best fan theory I ever heard? Is that
What?
Kevin McAllister grew up to be Jigsaw.
Oh, yes. The Corridor Crew, they did, like, you know how they do their things? We made Star Wars R-rated. We made Marvel movies R-rated. They did one. We made Home Alone R-rated, but they redid the story. So Kevin McAllister was actually a serial killer. Like, he killed his family. And then the two burglars showing up, they were actually showing up, staring at an Airbnb for a Step Brothers convention. And then they actually show, like, R-rated what would actually happen if, like, you shot someone's head with a flamethrower. It was so funny. So on that note, I think it's a good place to leave it. I don't know about you, Nick. So we're going to leave it. I will say this, by the way, while I have Nick here, if you attend the Snyder Cut live stream this week, we're not going to outright tell you what's going to be premiering, but something very interesting that is done by Nick, interesting component of one of Nick's secret projects that I know about is going to be premiering on this channel on Saturday at 6 p.m. on Comics League Live before we discuss the greatest superhero movie of all time, Zack Snyder's Justice League. So is there anything you want to say to, like, maybe tease what's going to be revealed? That's actually good. It's going to be
figured I'd give you guys a good screech.
Yeah, it's gonna be a blast. It's gonna be like, put this way, Dinah's gonna be unleashing her canary cry.
I will hope you all to see there.
Exactly. So with the Court of Owls. So on that note, stay heroic, everyone, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye bye.